Welcome to the I Hate Social Media podcast, the podcast where we dive deep into the chaotic world of social media marketing with a twist of irony and a dash of humor. So whether you love or hate social media, join us on this journey as we uncover the secrets to making it work for you.
All right, so go ahead. It's you are the host, so you're gonna have to do our theme song intro.
I don't know your theme song.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Pros. I mean, we are pros. Whatever. All right. Well, there it is. Welcome to the podcast. This is the hashtag I Hate Social Media podcast, where we don't have any fluff and we give you the truth and the facts about what works and what doesn't in social media. So this lovely lady, this gorgeous woman in front of me, this sight to behold, I can say all those things. She's my wife. This is Rebecca. I can say all those things because she's my wife. So I flirt with her openly and privately.
It's true.
It's a bit of an obsession. So, yeah. So you are actually going to play host, and you are going to ask me questions, and I will answer them truthfully and long-windedly.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds typical.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, I want to say this though, like as you ask questions and I answer, I want you to be willing to, jump in there too. Like,
Okay, you got it.
okay, all right, let's do it.
All right, so Mr. Durling,
Mrs. Durling.
can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in video production business?
Okay. Yes, I can tell you a little bit about myself. It's always a question of where to begin, though, how far back to go. And I'm going to go back to at least the beginning of my quote unquote professional career. Mm-hmm. I got my start working for one of the largest automotive remarketing company in the world. And for many years, I did sales. I did like corporate sales. I did sales, and then I did corporate sales, and then I did. It was like local or regional corporate sales. Then I did national corporate sales, and it was at that point I really was in, not over my head. It wasn't. I don't think it was an aptitude problem. It was definitely a desire problem. I didn't love it because I didn't love the travel. Mm-hmm. It was back in those days. I would just never forget being home on the weekends, and when tucking Noah in. I mean, he's 18 going on 19 now, but tucking him in and hearing him pray that Dad would get a different job so that he could be home with him during the week. Mm-hmm. That gutted me.
Yeah.
And it also made me start praying right along with him that that's exactly what would happen. It wasn't good for me, and let's be honest, it wasn't great for our marriage either. Mm-hmm. And so coming home was the right move.
Absolutely.
Now, I was not doing video production yet. I was home. I was doing a job from home, and that wasn't much. It was better. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't. It was far from what it needed to be. I was still working, 60, 70 hours, and then some weeks even 80, 1 week 90 hours. And I just thought, I'm going to die if I keep doing this. And that so how that got into video production is while I was still doing the national sales. 2015, I have dates. 2015, I was on a flight to Minneapolis, and I started writing down all the things that I've enjoyed that I wanted to do when I was a kid, and things I think I'd be good at. And what really rose to the top and made me a light bulb, like a lightning bolt, was a couple of things. One is when I was a kid, I always wanted to make movies. Mm-hmm. Didn't have the resources or ability to act on those desires, but I desired it. I really wanted to make films. And the thing of it is I realized that like things had evolved enough technologically to where it was possible for an average guy like me to go out and buy a camera and film, make good film, quality film, with DSLR cameras. I mean, now it's all going towards mirrorless, and that's great. But DSLR cameras had moved to the point where people were really starting to get into YouTube. I mean, this is 2015. It had been going on for a couple of years, but it was really hitting its stride then.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I got to that hotel, I called you, and I said, I know exactly what I want to do. So 2016, we named the company MR Sterling Productions.
Yep.
It was official. We registered it and all the things. It was an LLC, so we made it all real. And proceeded to do actually nothing for a time.
That's right. And then 2017 came around.
Yeah.
And we did it.
We did it. Mm-hmm. Actually owe a lot to Jen and Garrett. I mean, I think that was the Lord orchestrating things, because I really had some concerns and doubts, and you really encouraged me at that time, and that was the first job. I think we did really well. I mean, considering like how long ago it was, my style and technique has certainly changed, but man, I think we really did a good job.
Yeah, definitely. So you had video production business, and then you purchased Vivid Home Real Estate Photography.
Just like that.
How did that come to be?
Easy, just bought it, you know. No, it wasn't like that at all. So, okay. 2019, right? Rolls around. Mm-hmm. And we'll get into that later, because I think one of your questions pertains to this specifically. But at that time, we started doing some work for Steph Saplee, a wonderful woman who had developed a fantastic business, worked really hard to make it what it was. Yes. But she and her husband wanted to start and focus on building growing their family. And they have done that. Wonderful, beautiful children. And but she didn't want to just unload all of her clients and customers. And so I don't even think she told us that she was planning to sell the business. Yeah. She did not offer to sell it to us, because I think she was like, oh, I would never have thought you guys would be even interested in doing it. But we were. You were. Mm-hmm. I had no money. We had no money. None. $0. That was when we were hurting. Mm-hmm. Again, we'll get into that, but we had no resources whatsoever. And I'm not going to.
I said, yep, we need to buy the business.
You were crazy. You had some of these crazy moments. I don't even know where they come from. So I would like you to have a crazy moment again soon, if you don't mind. I mean, if we can get that on the calendar. Yeah. So, I mean, a miracle happened that enabled us to do that, to buy the business. And then December 2019, we closed and it was official. And then 2020 happened.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story, but there it is.
That's when I was doing 80, 90 hours a week.
We both were.
Yeah.
We both were.
Yep.
That was a crazy time. I was certainly more excited about it than you were.
Yeah.
But it was horrible for you, and I am sorry about that.
Hey, somebody's got to do it.
That was us. I didn't mind those 80 or 90 hours, because we had been struggling so much, and I was just so relieved to not be struggling like that anymore. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, speaking of that, what was one of the biggest challenges you faced when starting out? How did you overcome it?
I'm glad you asked that question. Yeah, it was 2019. Mm-hmm. For some reason, mentally, as time goes on, I keep wanting to go back to 2018. It was not 2018. But yeah, 2019. It was July. It was 5 years ago today. We were just out of funds. We were making money. Mm-hmm. That's something that I almost fail to share sometimes. We were making money. It just wasn't enough. And at that point, I said I need to go find a job. Right? It's the right thing to do for my family. And so I went out. I was putting in applications, filling out my resume, and doing all the things. I consider myself a pretty employable person. Nobody even called for an interview. It was absolutely discouraging. And we prayed. Oh, we prayed like we had never prayed before. And that whole situation just really stunk.
Mm-hmm. It did. It was hard.
I would use a stronger word, but it stunk.
Don't give me the stink eye.
Anyway, we prayed, and willing to do whatever it is the Lord wanted us to do. It just nothing was happening. So we, through all of that, finally decided, okay, here's the plan. If like it's either it's going to go or we're going to hang it up.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can do some sort of weekend work. I don't know what we were going to do, but the idea was, I said, this is how much we need to make a week. If we can get this much work, we'll kick the can down the road and we'll wait for me to quit. We got work and we'd kick it down a week. We got more work, kick it down 2 weeks. And that went on for a while. And Steph's business was supplying all of those additional jobs. Until September came and we got a huge job that would keep us going for a couple of months. And the rest is history, because around that time we were talking to Steph about buying the business, which I still think is just ridiculous.
Absolutely the Lord.
Yeah. So there it was. We bought it, and the rest is history, as they say.
That's right. So, excuse me. Talk to me a little bit about business dynamics. How do you balance the different aspects of the business between video production and photography, life itself?
Oh, it's very simple, Rebecca. I don't.
Yeah. True.
No, so you said between business and life. That's the more difficult thing. Balancing between like MR Sterling and Vivid isn't nearly as big a deal. There's some challenges, and we certainly in time need to grow. Things. This economy right now is not very stable. But once things do kind of calm down, especially after the election, let's face it, election years are just wonky anyway. But once things kind of settle down a little bit, organization will become very important to me. It is now, but I feel like then we'll have some time to focus on it and really work towards greater efficiency and all those things. That will help me be more balanced when it comes to work between the podcast and Vivid and MR Sterling and really just there's other aspects of ways that we want to grow and expand our business. But the balance between work and personal, like home, that's where it's really difficult. I try to keep my physical job out of the house. I mean, our studio is attached to our house, but it is separate from the house. So I try to keep it out here in the studio. So there's a physical line that's helpful. There's this though. Our youngest will come out and have a story or to tell me or something he wants to talk to me about. Oftentimes it's cars right now. He's super into cars, which is really cool. And I have to fight the urge to tell him I'm too busy.
Yeah.
I mean, it is real. But I know if I can make that cognitive choice to say, no, this is more important. He's going to grow up. He'll stop asking me. And I'll give you an example. When Chloe was little, she used to come into my studio and she wanted to give me a kiss.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was the sweetest thing on the face of the planet. And so I said, Chloe, you can interrupt me anytime for a hug and a kiss. Mm-hmm. And she took advantage of it several times. But she's not going to do that today.
Yeah.
She's grown up and moved on, and that's kind of it's sweet, but it is a little girl thing to do. Mm-hmm. And she just doesn't do it anymore. Well, Ari's still young and, he'll still do some of those little boy things. It's not going to last forever. And so my answer to the balance question is just as much as possible, just choose your family anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and speaking of family, millions are asking
Millions.
Millions are asking what it's like to work as a husband and wife team.
It's okay.
Careful how you answer there.
Anyway, yeah. No. It's funny. I think it shocks us when we talk to people, like we tell people, oh yeah, we work together. And you hear somebody say, oh, we could never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we would drive each other crazy. And I'm like, we do sometimes. That's true. But we like each other. Like, I enjoy being around you. In fact, I would even go the other way. I would say one of the best parts about doing business together is the fact that we do it together.
Mm-hmm.
There are some challenges with, we talk about work-life balance, about not talking about business all the time. And when you're on vacation, making sure you're actually on vacation.
Or on date night.
Mm-hmm. But that's some of that comes down to communication too, like knowing how do we define what's talking about work?
Mm-hmm.
Because for somebody, I don't like, for me, and this is maybe a difference between us. For me, I don't mind talking about like envisioning the business growing and opportunities we might have. I don't want to talk about day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
Like when I'm on a date or when I'm on vacation. But the other stuff, the dreaming, expanding, growing, that stuff, I could talk about that anytime, anywhere with anybody.
Yeah.
That's not work to me. But it is to you.
Yep.
Yeah. So you have to know each other, and you kind of have to figure it out and respect those boundaries, right? And so I think you've got to stretch a little bit and allow me to do that, because otherwise we don't have time to have those conversations. And I've also got to make sure I limit those conversations so that it's not like all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
It's awesome, by the way.
I agree. I wouldn't trade it.
No, I absolutely not. I don't care. I know that your role and my role and how we work together will probably evolve and change over time. I don't care about that, as long as we're always doing something together.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm just going to shift gears here just a little bit and talk about client relationships.
Okay.
How do you build and maintain relationships with your clients, and what potential like big impact might they have had on you and our business?
I think you okay, so networking is a big part of developing some of those relationships. You got to get out and meet people. I think that the key to developing good business relationships is just being a resource. It's not really about making money. I think that will come, but like, I think you've got to be a resource for people. And sometimes there are different times when I've been better at it than others. But just, I mean, it's not, like if somebody calls, just being able to offer them free advice, hey, I'm thinking about doing this kind of stuff. Like, if I wanted to make a video, like, what do I, being helpful, that can help you develop relationships. I know for me, one of the most profound relationships that I've had is with Joe Zimmerman, Summers and Zims. He, I just from a character standpoint, has been very influential, I think, to both of us. Yeah. He's definitely a leader at his company, and just seeking to develop people. And that alone, I think I really admire him for. He doesn't make bones about his faith. He is who he is, and just works from and through integrity and character. And he's a what you see is what you get guy. It's really funny. I mean, we shoot commercials for him, and they're fun, they're cute, and all that stuff. But like, man, he is the real deal. He just is. Man, what an authentic, godly guy. Yeah. Yeah. And just so you know, I'm not blowing smoke. I don't think he'll ever see this podcast.
Yeah.
Knowing Joe, he's just,
Yeah.
this is not what he's not going to watch this podcast. So it's not like I'm trying to shine him on or anything. That is like me speaking from the heart. That's for real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking to get this wrapped up here.
Okay.
So can you just, in a nutshell, kind of just,
I sure can.
yes,
I'm going to, in a nutshell, sum it
do
up.
that. Can you do that?
Can I sum it up in a
Yep.
nutshell?
Can you read my mind right now? What about
the podcast
excites you the most
Sorry.
right now?
Oh, that's funny because that was I remember some of the questions, right? Like one of the questions was, "What are you most excited about?"
Yeah.
Which is the podcast. But what about the podcast am I most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, we're learning and growing here, and you are able to cast a vision like no one I know.
There's multiple reasons, and I don't know if I can narrow it down. So I'm going to name at least 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to spit them out so that hopefully you can help me remember them. Dad brain, it's a thing. Dad brain is a real thing. My kids,
Mm-hmm.
okay. For me, it's also an outlet, learning and teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just, I don't quite know how to say it. I mean, but it's what we're doing. It's the idea that I think we're doing something that no one's ever done before. And I'll get into that. But so the first thing is my kids, our children think that this is just the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Chloe and Ari came out here the other day and they pretended to do a podcast. Now they left all my gear on and killed my batteries. I mean, I recharged, whatever, and so they didn't shut anything off. But man, they had a blast pretending they had their own podcast. They just, and Chloe helped with some of the design, and so did Noah.
Yeah.
It's cool to be the cool dad. You're like, yeah, dad's job is really cool, and I think it is too. It's nice that they think so. So that's a big deal. I love that. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, like, I think what we've been able to kind of put together with our set and the design and the look and the colors and all that stuff, man, I think it came together really well. I think it looks nice. It's evolving. You can see some of the equipment changes each week.
Mm-hmm.
We're just each week trying to improve a little bit. It's exciting. That's all exciting to me.
That's fun.
It's fun. It's also an outlet for me, in an intellectual kind of way. You said this just a few minutes ago, so I don't want to steal credit from you. You reminded me, like, this is perfect. I am a verbal processor.
Yeah.
If I'm learning something, I learn it better and process it. I process it by communicating it.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I'm learning or reading, I will start to talk it through. And by talking it through, talking it out, especially if the other person will like banter back, I learn. And not only do I teach while I learn.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that helps with kind of I don't know what you'd call it, but just the memory of it. I remember better if I've communicated it effectively.
It's very true.
So yeah, so I'm excited about being able to learn about social media, and then, I mean, forgive the way I'm saying it, but regurgitate it,
Mm-hmm.
Synthesize it and give it back to you in a way that's it's not inspirational necessarily, but maybe inspirational, but helpful.
Yeah.
Helpful.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then I guess finally, to kind of wrap the whole thing up, okay, hold on. I am excited about the fact that we are not only teaching, learning about social media, and that's going to help our business. It will help our business. I think we're going to meet people. We're going to develop relationships just sitting here, getting to know them one-on-one. I think that's awesome. And that will grow our business, and we'll be able to like work with and help more people that way. That's cool, obviously. but to be able to like offer something of value to others for free is cool. And then to do something that I think is unprecedented. I don't think there's a podcast out there. I don't think it exists. I think this is the only podcast in the world where we're literally like starting from scratch, ground zero, learning something and applying it to a business and letting everybody watch us do it.
Yeah.
So I haven't been overly specific. I've been clear about what I intend to do, but I haven't been very specific. The company is called Retro Media Digitizers. I'm not sure that I've even said yet.
That you brought it up on here.
I don't think I have.
So.
So the company is Retro Media Digitizers, and we are going to take the social media stuff that we learn, the takeaways. I'm going to distill them down. I'm going to share it with you, but we are going to apply it, implement it, and execute it in that business. And we're going to grow that company, Lord willing, and you're going to watch. And some things will work and other things won't.
Yeah.
But we're going to tell you what is working. We're going to tell you what didn't work. And that creates a level of transparency and authenticity I don't think it's out there.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing, the thing that I kind of get like, I just think it's utterly dope. I think it's so dope. Like you will see the case. It's a real world, real time case study. You're going to watch it. And I think that gives us, and I'm just being honest here, I think that will lend us some credibility. And I think we're going to find that other people are going to say, hey, we could do that because we watched you do it. But we don't want to do it. Can you help us? And we'll be able to help people do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a long-winded way of saying like, I am super excited about what we're actually doing. Mm-hmm. I think it's profound. I think it's new. It's innovative. Yeah. And I'm totally pumped about it.
That's great. Thank you.
All right. I guess I got to wrap things up here.
It's a wrap.
Well, baby, thanks.
Hey, you're welcome.
You bailed me out.
Let me know when you need me next time.
Just call me. Don't be afraid.
Just call me.
Yeah. It's a song.
There's a song for everything.
There is a song for everything. Anyway, you did bail me out. I begged. I mean, it wasn't on hands and knees, but it was pretty close. And yeah, you came and you hosted. You're the hostess with the mostest.
I tried.
You did good. You did good. I'd say give her a round of applause, but that's not how that's going to go.
Yeah, well.
Guys, I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. We didn't share this, but I guess I'll share it at the end. There was a reason why Rebecca was the host today, and that was because we didn't have a guest. And that's how that went. So we are regrouping and making plans and all that stuff. And I think we've got a good plan going forward. But yeah, just one of those weird weeks, and decided to go a different direction. That will not shift the overall course of the podcast. We are still very much in the hunt, as I shared a moment ago, with learning more about social media. And so I'll give you this nugget. If you stuck around this long, here's your payoff. And with this, we really got to wrap it up because this 20 to 30 minute thing is not 30. Just here's the free nugget. So often we think that social media is added onto our work, and it becomes a burden because, we're like, I got to do the work. I got to make money. How am I going to have time to do all this social media stuff? And the way we've got to start thinking about that, and this is the way that I'm starting to shift my own mind around all of this, is that social media is simply customer acquisition or client acquisition. And that's not optional. It's something you have to do because of the very nature of attrition. As you're doing work and you have great clients and all that stuff, those clients are going to come and those clients are going to go. They just do. I mean, we have new clients with Vivid. We have clients that have gone away. I have new clients with MR Sterling and clients that have gone away. It's not that they don't like you. It's not that you did something wrong. Sometimes it is. That's a reality. But more often than not, like, you're doing great, but they want fresh eyes, they want fresh ideas, and they're just going in a different direction. Well, you have to be in the business of client acquisition all the time. You've got to keep the hopper full. I have dropped the ball on that, and it bit me. So that's my advice to you, and that's my encouragement to you. As you're learning about all this social media stuff, don't get discouraged and think, how am I going to add that extra workload to my already busy schedule? It's important to figure it out. If you have to leverage some time, you got to figure it out, because you have to be in the business of customer acquisition to keep that pipeline full. So with that, guys, thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.